Uy, perdón. Bienvenidos a ¿Qué pasa, mujer? Welcome to ¿Qué pasa, mujer? Estamos aquí todos los domingos a las 4 de la tarde. We're here every Sunday at 4 o'clock Eastern Standard Time. Bienvenidos a ¿Qué pasa, mujer? Estamos contentos que llegamos a otro mes. We're super excited that this is the beginning of a new month. We only have November, December, and then it will be 2026. Estamos celebrando que tenemos otro mes en el 2025. Vamos a tener el mes de noviembre, diciembre y después vamos a llegar al año 2026. So, estamos contentos de que estamos terminando el año bien y que vamos a empezar un año nuevo hasta mejor que el de 25. So today we're very excited, in addition to the fact that November is here. This is almost eggnog season, and it's almost turkey season and seafood season. It's all the food seasons and all the celebrations and parties and social events that we will be celebrating in the month of November and December. But today we have a very special guest. It's dear to my heart because I am involved in community all the time, and it's very rewarding. It's very challenging at times, but it is also very rewarding at times. And so our guest today is Danielle Jeanette. She's here with YMCA. We're going to learn a lot about her today. She's the center executive for Hampton Family YMCA, which is where I live. And so it is a great joy to have her on. And we also have our co-host, Maddie Garcia. So we're going to ask Mark to go ahead and bring both of them on so we can get started. Hey, Danielle. Hey, Maddie.
Hello. How's it going?
Good. We're very excited to have you, Danielle, and we have lots and lots and lots of questions. I know for me, I was born in Colombia, and then I went to Mexico, and then I came to the United States when I was about 9. So I had no idea what the YMCA was until I really got to Virginia. So we're going to get to learn a lot about what the YMCA does. But Maddie, we want to know a little bit about your week before we start asking Danielle all the questions we have for her.
Of course. Buenas tardes. ¿Qué pasa, mujer? Hope everyone had a great week. My week, it has been a little crazy at my job. So as always, when you do customer service and you work with people, you never know what to expect. So, it's like, okay. But we made it through another week. So unfortunately, I lost my manager. So right now we don't have a manager at the branch that we are in. But we're coming together as a team, and we're waiting for the next person to come through. So I'm just lucky to have the support of my teammates, and that's kind of when you come together and you make it through situations like this. So and also been a little bit under the weather, but nothing a little bit of makeup and a good hairstyle and a necklace can cover. So I'm taking medications, and hopefully, I'll be better next week.
Yeah, because we can't tell you're sick. Yeah. So when you're on the show, Maddie, are you wearing your heels or no?
I thought about it, but no, I'm wearing flip-flops today.
Not today. Very exciting. So for me, you're next, Danielle, so you can get your thoughts together. But for me, this past week, it was. I would say I would label it as it's been a blessing to be able to have solutions to challenges. I would say, because so many times things come at us, and we. I can remember before when I would just be stuck, like, oh my God, what do I do? Or I would feel that anxiety within me. And this week I felt a couple of anxiety moments, but I was able to overcome. Like I've said in the show before, my go-to is faith, right? So as soon as I start to feel that anxiety, I just put the word faith into my brain, and it'll probably last a minute or two. And then I just kind of keep it moving, and I focus on the solution, because what else can I do, but to find a solution. But overall, I am excited actually that it is November. Usually when November hits, when I start getting rid of declutter, junk drawers, start donating clothes, and I make my son do it as well. So it's decluttering, not hoarding, and getting rid of things. I try not to throw them away. I try to recycle them and give them to other people, and that's kind of like my mindset at the moment. How about you, Danielle? How was your week?
My week was actually really good. I actually celebrated my birthday on Tuesday, last Tuesday. And so it was also Spirit Week at the Y. So, like, we did a different theme each day. We invite our members to do it and our staff. And so it's a really exciting time. The energy is good throughout the center. And then, of course, Halloween. So I got to, spend some time with some friends and family trick or treating, on Halloween. But overall, like I said, similar to you, Viviana, like I sometimes, can't really turn off work. So I honestly get so busy in my life. I honestly forgot that it was my birthday. And then, finally we're getting calls and everything and just the excitement, like, oh yeah, it is my birthday today. So taking a minute to celebrate me, which, was exciting. So I got to spend time with friends and family all week, which was great. So I'm also excited that it's November. It's finally starting to feel like fall in Virginia, and that's my favorite time of the year. Leaves are changing. Weather's great, bonfire weather, football. So overall, very, very excited for the rest of the year.
Perfect. I love it. So we are going to talk about the YMCA today, but before we do that in detail, I just to kind of give you guys a little bit of background about Danielle and I. So we met, I believe, this year, and every time that I come in contact with someone that is part of the Y, or sometimes we're having conversations and I mention the Y, and then they get super excited about talking about the Y and how it's almost like people always remember their first connection to the Y for some reason whenever you mention it. And it's this excitement. I've never met anyone that is not excited talking about the Y. So the first question I wanted to ask you was what was your initial connection to the Y?
I have been a Y baby since I was 4 years old. It's where I learned how to swim at the Portsmouth YMCA. My grandma took me to learn how to swim there. So, and so that really was important for me because the first job that I had when I was 16 was a lifeguard. And so I've always, like, growing up, the Y was the place to go for swim lessons, youth sports. Even when I was in high school, it was the place to hang out. And so it's really, really just been a part of my life. I've never not known about the YMCA, but I've also experienced, different centers and, different areas of all the YMCAs. And so naturally just gravitated back towards that and around like 2022. But I have always been connected to the Y, and I love connecting the Y to other people because, to your point, some people don't even know about the Y until you start having a conversation with them. So I've always been a Y baby. It is in my blood, and I can't really picture myself doing anything other than being with the Y, which is crazy to think about. But yeah, it's always been a really important part of my life.
Mm. How about you, Maddie? Do you have a connection with the Y?
The first thing that comes to mind, two things. I have three children. So the first, my daughter's, I think her second job or her first job was at the Y. She was a camp counselor at the Y. And then for my boys, they went to their first college that they went to. They went to a 2-year college, and it was out in Franklin, Virginia. And they were members of the Y over there because, it's a small town. So with the Y, the kids could, the baseball team could work out and use the pool and the facility and stuff. And they had like a special agreement with the school. So my boys ended up spending a lot of time in there as well. So.
Yeah. Well, for me, when I came to Virginia, I have two sons. One just turned 21 and the other one is 15, and they both played basketball. And so that's where we went. We went to the YMCA when my 21-year-old was about 6 or 7. And then my 15-year-old, he's been going there since he could, like 3 or 4 years old. So that was my initial connection to the Y. And just being I am part of the board with the YMCA Hampton. Hampton. If you could speak about this a little bit too, Danielle, the uniqueness of Hampton because we have 3 YMCA's.
Yeah, we have 3 centers in the Hampton district. We have Hampton is the largest, kind of like the hub, and then we have Fort Monroe, which is like our quietest location, but also like the most beautiful location, in my opinion, in our association. And then we have YMCA Health and Wellness Center, which is the most recent center that our association has opened up, and it is right across the street from Centera Hospital.
Yeah. And I like all of them. I love the wellness center because it's really close to where I live, but it's always like very low key. Everything's always consistent, like it's clean. I feel like nobody's like harassing me or like overwhelming. And I love the sauna and, all that stuff in the lockers. Or, it's kind of like the ladies at the front desk. They always know what number locker I'm going to get. So they always give me the same key. So I love the family atmosphere. Compared to other places, let's say that we can go to and work out, because that's pretty much the drive force of the Y, correct? The family piece.
Yeah, absolutely, 100%. They're always like, I have never really been to a YMCA where I haven't had somebody welcome me in like a very like positive way. Even just like checking into other centers, they call me by my name, so it's just always a welcoming atmosphere at all of our centers in the district, specifically because Hampton is while it's such a large city, we have a really tight community. And so, we're like a big family at the YMCA, really. And I mean that truly. But again, it's unique just because while it's such a large city, the community itself are so tied together, and it's such a close-knit community.
Yeah. Maddie, have you ever done any work? Maddie is a banker, Danielle, just in case you didn't know that, but she's a banker. So have you guys done any activities? I know, and Danielle, we'll go back to this. I know I'm all over the place right now because I'm excited because I know you have a sports background, right? So Maddie, her children play baseball. So what are some stuff that you can identify, Maddie, with the Y and the sports piece of it?
Like I mentioned before, like the connection with the kids and being able to have access, to the facility. They do, the Y works very closely, like we mentioned before, with the community, so kind of trying to get the community involved. I know that there's special programs, like I said, in my boy's case, it was like if you were a student at that particular college, you could get a discount on your membership and things like that. A lot of incentive to get them to be part of the facility and join, the community atmosphere. And like you said, the familiarity too. It is a small town, so everybody kind of knows each other. So if again, for me, being away from there will always be my babies. I mean, I'm talking about 18, 19, 20-year-olds, but they're my babies. So being in a place away from home, and it's like, okay, are they safe? That's kind of like the first thing that comes to your mind. So knowing that they are
Yes. So just before we go on, we're going to say hello to our audience, Lily, Tangi, Cherry as well, our faithful watchers. There she goes. Thank you for watching us. Danielle, I wanted to ask you about the engagement of community, right? Why is it important to be engaged? What are some things that we can ask our audience members, it doesn't matter where they're located, as to the importance of being involved in the community and how you can utilize an organization like the YMCA to find a starting point?
Yeah, I mean, that's a great question. When I think about community engagement, that's probably what I love the most about the Y and kind of what drove me into, establishing a career with the Y. I'm a very engaging person. So, the YMCA to a lot of people is almost like a second home. We have a huge senior population. They come through our doors and really, while they work out, the most important part to them is really the community aspect of being able to have a conversation with somebody in our cafe area. I joke with them sometimes because they sometimes are at the Y for 8 hours. So I'm like, hey, what, you guys want to get a job here? Like, I'll put you on payroll, because they really do. Like, they spend their entire day at the YMCA. And so there's just so much in the community. Like I said, we go to all these different community events to reach out and promote our programs, from swim lessons to youth sports to summer camps to before and after school care. It sounds cliche when we say that the YMCA is so much more than a gym, but it really is, because somebody could walk through the door and just think that all we have to offer is a wellness floor space, but we have so much more than that. And so community is important to me because, we could be the reason why somebody has a great day. We could be the reason why somebody is having a terrible day. And when they come into the Y, it immediately flips their attitude. You never really know what somebody's going through or what their situation is. And the YMCA is there to help out with that. Whether that's through a membership or just some kind of event that we're having. I said before that while Hampton is such a huge city, it's a very close-knit community. And so you meet a lot of people from all different backgrounds and ages that they all tell a different story. And that to me is the most exciting part, is because I get to be a part of their stories every day. And so I get to hear their stories. I get to tell their stories. And so community engagement is the biggest thing with the YMCA and kind of what we're all about.
Yes. I wanted you to tell us a little bit about some statistics when it comes to the swimming piece and how the YMCA is so involved with swimming and the importance of learning how to swim. And it doesn't matter how old you are.
Yeah, so I mean, I would say learning to swim, is probably swim lessons is one of the probably top most important programs that the YMCA does offer. I believe our lessons start from 6 months, as early as 6 months, and it just continues to go to into adults. And so, we have in our association a program called Learn to Swim, where we have, elementary school kids that come in and they get a chance to learn how to swim for an entire week. We put them through a program where they're actually in the pool learning the fundamentals of swimming and the importance of water safety. That's really the biggest thing, is the water safety aspect of it all. You hear too much about, unfortunately, all these drowning cases that happen because people don't know how to swim. And so we provide so many lessons, whether it's private, group, parent-child, and we fill those classes. And so really, I want to say probably we as a association serve well up to between 1,000 kids, probably even more than that. Statistic wise, I don't know all of the numbers. I know that it's very high, that we have really, that is a program where as soon as registration opens up, it fills within 24 or 48 hours, because parents and adults really are wanting their children to learn how to swim. I spoke to a woman probably about a couple months ago. I was just having a conversation with her, and she said that the reason why she came to the Y was because she wanted exercise. She just wanted to go to the gym, go to classes, and then she heard about swim lessons. Well, she was in her 40s and she didn't know how to swim. And she's like, you guys offer swim lessons for adults? And we were like, oh yeah, absolutely. We can get you signed up. And so she signed up that day for swim lessons. And then when I had spoken to her, she had gone through 14 weeks of swim lessons where she was like, I feel completely comfortable in the water right now. I am good to go. She's like, I'm not a professional by any means, but she's like, I can comfortably get in the pool and know what to do if I feel like I know how to float. I know how to call for help. And she's like, but I really just know the basics of knowing how to swim, all around water safety. And all of our instructors are so amazing. We serve such a large community. Again, so many different personalities, so many different age groups. And we really strive to teach every individual how to swim. And I can comfortably say that all of the parents that, go through that program, feel good about it. They're signing up for the next sessions. So, Maddie, we can get you signed up. I know some great instructors. I really do. It's just a matter of, you trusting us and, allowing us to teach you how to swim, really. I mean, like I said, I was a water baby. I learned at 4, and I've been a water baby since. So, I think it's just such a huge aspect. I don't think a lot of people understand the importance around water safety and how to know how to swim. And so I think that the YMCA does such a good job promoting that. And that is definitely where we thrive.
Mm-hmm. So Maddie, because for me too, I can swim a little bit, right? And I could definitely take some lessons too, so I can like really survive if something were to happen. But why is it? Maddie, do you think it's something cultural here in reference to not going to swimming lessons, or what is it?
I don't know, because it's weird. I'm not a swimmer, but I do know how to float. And if I have to kind of get myself from the middle of the pool or from one side to the pool to the other side of the pool, I can do it. But if I get into like a river, like a live, live water, then I'm going down, So, but in a pool, I tend to do pretty good. My kids are amazing swimmers. My husband can swim. My boys, my daughter, my kids have been in the pool since they were like, so they do great. So, nobody wants to go on a cruise with me because they're like, oh, we know mom is gonna. I don't know if it's a cultural thing. Like, for example, for my husband, like he was born in we're from the Dominican Republic. So he was born on the coast of the country. So he was always surrounded by water. So he was always at the beach and the pools and, so he's a very good swimmer. Both of my brothers know how to swim. I don't know.
This is you. Yeah, and you bring up a good point, Tangi, who's watching us. Her family is from Bermuda, and so her dad came to visit recently, and so every day he gets up and he goes to the beach and he swims every single morning. So I guess it's having access to it, right? Which brings me to another point, Danielle, and then Maddie, you can take over with some of the questions because I feel like I'm taking over. But what are the challenges that the Y has in getting people to know that the Y exists and that it is a place that you can go to not just work out?
That's a great question. I think when I speak about really like Hampton specifically, I think it's just visibility a lot of the time. But I think, across the board, we could probably do a better job promoting ourselves. We have key leaders, at each of our centers that are out in the community promoting the YMCA. And so it does go back to that community aspect of knowing people that will help promote, your organization. For example, Viviana, you're on my board, and so you're actively promoting the YMCA every day. So I think really it's the promotional aspect. I'd like to say, we do have competitors in the area. There are other gyms, but like I said, again, cliche, we are so much more than a gym. So we just need the opportunity to be able to tell that to people. And so we try to do that by showcasing all of our areas of focus. And so I think that's really promoting is something that we're always trying to keep with the trends, which sometimes can be difficult. And so I think it really does go back to that community aspect of knowing the people in your community, having the right people promoting you and your YMCA. And so I think that's some of the things that we struggle with. But once we reach that one person, it's like it is the wow factor. Like, wow, I did not know you guys are, offer all. I came in to join the gym. I didn't realize that I'm now signing my child up for swim lessons before and after school care, youth soccer. And then I'm also getting all of these group exercise classes as well. And so I think it's just telling the story of the Y and knowing how to tell it and who to tell it to.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Tu turno, Mary, porque estoy hablando mucho. I'm talking to you.
You're the boss. That's okay. Let me ask you, Danielle. I know that you guys are in Hampton. I live in Chesapeake. And is there any connection to the Ys in the different cities? Do you guys work together, or is it, separate depending on what city you are in?
So we, our association specifically, we stretch from Smithfield, Virginia, all the way up to like Northumberland and Richmond County. We have roughly 13, 14 centers. Don't quote me on that. But we stretch from Smithfield all the way to Northern Neck, Northumberland, Richmond County, which, drive time is anywhere between 1.5, 2 hours. All of us work collectively as the YMCA of the Virginia Peninsulas. However, we have conferences. Like I said, we have YPN, which is one of our conferences where we bring all of the YMCAs in Virginia together, and we connect and we network that way. There's also YUSA, so there's all kinds of trainings and conferences and classes all throughout the country, and honestly throughout the world too. So there's always different areas of connection, and yes, we all collectively work together. And so I think one of the things that I appreciate too, I used to work for a different association, and so I can still ping some of those people for, hey, what are some things you guys are doing in your community that maybe we can do? And part of those professional networking conferences, that's our space to be able to do that. And, we do breakout sessions, we have guest speakers. And so that's a lot of the time where we kind of get to learn more about what other YMCAs are doing that maybe we can do better. And then what we're doing really well that other YMCAs, could also use. So we're always, like I said, somebody works for the Y the minute that you connect with them, just based off of how they talk about it. So, we are always networking at the YMCA.
Always. Even when you're not inside of the building. Mm-hmm.
I walk around with business cards, and if I have an experience with somebody that is like, if I'm at a restaurant or at a store and it's somebody that has great, community service, I'm like, hey, you were just really, your customer service was out of this world. Have you ever heard about the Y? Would you like to work for us? So really, and even if it's not, well, no, are you a member of the Y? So, there's always a YMCA conversation, sometimes to the point where people are like, oh my gosh, do you guys ever stop talking about the Y? And it's like, I wish I could, but like there's always this opportunity to just speak about what we do. There's never not a question that somebody could ask that we couldn't relate to the YMCA.
Yeah, because I know you're able to, for anybody that's watching us, but you can get some free passes to try it out, correct? How does that work?
Yeah, absolutely. We do guest passes. You can refer a friend. If you're a member, we do out of town passes. But from a customer service standpoint, if somebody comes into my YMCA and wants to visit and experience it, they're going to be able to do that. And so I think that's what also makes us, very, very unique. So, but overall, like I said, it's if you're there to ask, we're there to answer.
Maddie, ask her an education question, because that's your thing.
Well, I have another question. So it might lead into that, but my question is, I know that you guys may have different programs, but how do you choose the programs that you offer at your particular locations? And then how to, you mentioned about the passes, but like, how does your memberships, work, for people that may be interested?
Yeah, so that's a great question, a loaded one. So the best answer that I have for that is when it comes to offerings, we're always looking at, number one, what is the needs in our community? What is something unique that we don't offer that we could offer? And then also, like, again, for me, I'm somebody that's like, why not try it out, right? If it doesn't work, how can we get it to work? And then, so I'll use youth sports, for instance. Right now we're just focused on youth sports, right? We have soccer and basketball. We're getting ready to bring volleyball, and we're talking about, well, what are some additional needs or some trends that are going around, in our area that we could, program? Is it pickleball? Is it, adult leagues? So we are always posing the question of what is the need in our community, and then how does that speak to our mission? So does it make sense for the YMCA to run this? And then also, like, what benefit is it for us as well. So I think program offerings are never limited at the Y. I think when I first got to the Y in 2020, the offerings of swim lessons were not the offerings that are there right now. I mean, we have multiplied the amount of swim lesson offerings because there's a need for it. So while we only had, maybe 4 or 5, let's say 4 or 5 different kinds of lessons, we've now doubled that or tripled that because there are so many people that want to learn how to swim. With youth sports, we never used to offer, some of the things that we offer across our association now. And so we also look at like what works at each center because every area is different. And so, again, it goes back to what are the needs of the community, and does it speak to our mission, and, how can we make that work? And so I think there's always windows of opportunity to add things. When it comes to membership, we have all different membership types. Young adults, we have family memberships, we have single memberships, we have adult plus one, we have, senior memberships. We also offer silver sneakers. Viviana spoke about it a little bit earlier on, but we do have, we do offer financial assistance for anyone. Let's say you come in and you're like, I can't afford it right now. We're like, well, let's talk about that. Let's see how we can help you out, right? And so we do have a financial assistance program. Most recently, you guys know the government is shut down right now. And so our immediate thought was, how can we help this community, right? And so we know that we have a lot of government workers in our area. And so what we are doing is if you, are affected by the government shutdown, you're able to come out and reach out to us, and we're going to help you out. And so, while that looks a little bit different right now, it's something that we want to be able to do because we understand the needs of being able to come to the YMCA, whether that's for youth programming, your children, or yourself. But it's such an important thing. And so, again, I'll speak to there's always offerings at the YMCA. When I first got in my role in January of 2020, I was in it for 2 months before the world shut down. And so I was like, what's going to happen now? We offered emergency childcare for all emergency personnel that had to go into work. And so we offered that care from 6 a.m. to 6 p.m. And so parents who didn't have anywhere to put their kids, they could come in at the YMCA and bring their kids in. And so us as directors were serving as, you guys know, it was like the ratio was like 1 to 10, 1 to 15, it was very, we served as many kids as we possibly could during that time because we knew that there was a need for it. And so we're always posing the question, what are the needs of our community and how can we help? And so I think that's the biggest thing with the YMCA. And so anybody that walks through our doors, we have something for them.
That's true. Mark was just saying that the website for the YMCA is very impressive because we are able to read it in multiple languages. I know when I joined the YMCA and the board, that was one of my things, right, is making sure that the information was available in multiple languages, not just in Spanish because I'm Hispanic, but just in multiple languages. And that was one of the things that attracted me to joining the board, is because of the diversity, or even the attempt of having diversity within the Y. I think it's amazing. I also love how the YMCA incorporates youth into things that they do. I would say that's probably one of my favorite things that you guys do, just because I'm so connected to the youth. I also run, you don't know this, Danielle, but I run a summer program as well, right? But mine is very small. But even though I'm promoting mine, I promote the Y. So if somebody can't afford mine, or the schedule doesn't work, or whatever it might be, I send kids to the YMCA because I know the type of things that they're getting in the summertime, and because it's a great time to not be using electronics. So the YMCA does a great job with their summer camps, and even having youth leaders, having high school students be involved in leadership roles. So if you could talk a little bit about that as well.
Yeah, so I was very new to it when I got to Hampton Family YMCA, and it was also a very small program. It's our Teen Leaders Club, and so what that is really a space for teens. I almost look at it like, if I wish I had joined that when I was a teen, because it's almost like a college prep kind of time. And honestly, not just college prep, but it gets you prepped for the real world. Sometimes things that they don't teach you in high school, which is, stressing the importance of resume building workshops, and, again, volunteer hours. And so we used to have a very small program at Hampton. There was maybe 6 or 7 kids in it. And now that number has more than tripled because there's a need for it in the community. There's a need for not just teens to come to a safe space, after school or on the weekends, but an area for them to learn about themselves, learn about what it's like in the real world, and then also really work towards something. So if you're in our Leaders Club program, you're working towards going to our Blue Ridge Leaders Academy, which is like a huge retreat in the summertime that we encourage all of our teens to go to. They raise money to go to it. And also they have to do a number of volunteer hours. And those number of volunteer hours have to be in one of our program areas. And so whether that be wellness or childcare or membership, aquatics is a little bit different because you have to be certified to be a lifeguard. So that's an area that they don't get a whole lot of volunteer hours, but they essentially have to work. And they understand what it's like to work in those spaces. And so the amount of growth that I see in those teens just in the short amount of time that they're in the program is so great. I think last year I had a soft spot for this kid who, he didn't really talk a whole lot. He was an introvert. By all means, he was an introvert. And he was, he would want to do the wellness area. He would come and he would clean the wellness floor. He would chat with members. He would really do anything to get his volunteer hours. And now I think he's a senior in high school now. He is like one of the biggest extroverts I think I've ever met. And he sees me all the time and he, addresses me by my name. And so he was with me when I was the wellness director at Hampton, and he sees me as a center executive at Hampton. And so they have intentional conversations with you. It's really like sometimes you feel like you're actually talking to like a real life adult because they're so mature through going through this program. And so seeing them get those volunteer hours, the craziest one that I ever experienced was when I was opening my building. I had a teen that would come in at 5 a.m. when we opened. He would work for 2 hours, get his volunteer hours in, and then he would come after school and he would work another 4. And so he was almost working a full 8-hour day. But what teen do you know wakes up at 4:30 in the morning to be at the Y at 5 a.m. to volunteer, and then after a long day of school, you're coming back to the Y to volunteer some more? And so it's a really great program. Like I said, we offer our Leaders Club at multiple locations, and it just continues to grow. We also have our Achievers Club. And that is almost like a youth in government. That's what it's called, youth in government. And so basically, it's almost like all these kids are running for office. It's just really incredible to see these teens do so many things at such a young age that it might have been around when I was at the Y, but I did not experience it. And I really, really wish that I had, because if I was in a place where they were at when I was that age, I can't imagine where I would be, now. So I think it would have helped me even more. So it's really, really great. There's a space for every age at the YMCA.
Danielle, let me ask you, I know that we've been talking about the different programs, and we talked about the sports and the aquatics and things like that. But is there any other programs aside from like physical activities? Because I know we were talking earlier that everybody thinks the Y is just a gym, So are there any other classes that are being taught at the Y that are not necessarily as physical? And then what's been the weirdest program that you've had over there at the Y?
So I would say right now, again, our focus really when it comes to programming is really around the youth. Like I said, before and after school care, we have summer camp, again, swim lessons, youth sports. And then when you get into like the wellness side of the house, we offer a vast number of group exercise classes. And that's through all of our centers. That is, included with your membership. Right now, we have a lot of community health programs that is growing in our association. And so we have Live Strong, which is a program for either cancer survivors or people who are currently battling cancer. And that is specific to them, and it is really a program to help them, and so that is really great. That is something that we offer at some of our locations. We do a blood pressure self-monitoring program as well, and so anybody that has high blood pressure can come to this program and get help with that. We really are trying to build on the community health aspect because there's a very large need in the community for that, not just on the wellness side or the physical side of things, but also just like mental health. And so that's, again, something that we're always trying to expand on. And so for that, really, that's kind of like a focus point right now as well. I would say that, nutrition is also very key. Nutrition is sometimes out of our scope of practice, just depending on the situation, because we want you to be a licensed nutritionist to be able to kind of give out nutritional information. We can coach you on your macros and everything. But so I think when it comes to that, our community health programs are growing. We just started a fall prevention program as well. So helping seniors, understand and practice fall prevention. And so there's just so much in our community right now. But again, it goes back to the focus point of the community needs. And that is a need right now. And so we just offer, like I said, the offerings are not limited. And also we're always never limiting our offerings based off of the needs of the community.
What was the unusual? What did you ask, Maddie?
The unusual one. I can't say that I have had an unusual program specific to Hampton. I will say, again, COVID was a very strange time for everybody. But for us, we were offering virtual classes, and we had instructors that, if they were comfortable getting on Facebook Live, they were instructing from their home. So originally they were able to be in the center. And then there was like another limitation on, who could be in the building. And so they were doing it from their homes. And I think one of the ones it wasn't at my center specifically, but there was a belly dancing class, which was offered at a couple of our locations. But it was something I'm like, I've never seen that before. I'd be interested to see sort of, what that's like. But I think program specifically, I don't know if that I've ever experienced really like a weird one, but that was definitely different for me being 2 months into my role. I'm like, wow, I didn't know this was something that the YMCA offered, but it was actually a very popular class. So I would say in terms of, I don't know if strange is the right word, but just something different, I guess, than what I was used to.
What about the bus pool and the plunge?
Yeah, so the YMCA, we are always, like I said, we are a nonprofit. So we have our annual impact fund, which is where, we spend a majority of our year, getting donations and doing fundraisers to be able to meet our annual impact goal. And so a lot of our centers do community events. And one of the ones that's near and dear to my heart is the Jacob Dorr Memorial Bus Pool, which started in 2021. And what that is Jacob Dorr was one of our membership staff. He was one of the first faces that I met when I came to Hampton. He had worked for our membership department for quite a few years, and he was like that person when you walked in. He had that energy, he had that smile on his face, he greeted you by your name. All of the regulars knew him, and he was honestly one of the first people that made me feel super welcome in my center. And unfortunately, he passed away in July of 2020, I believe it was. And so he was such a heart of our YMCA. His family also was super involved. And so we decided that we were going to, originally, when we were going to do the pool in 2020, he was the first person to, sign up a team. He was going to pull the bus, and he was one of the first participants. Well, we had to, cut it back because of COVID. And so with that, the bus pool is, we decided that we want to do that in memory of him and everything that the YMCA meant to him, and the community, and how much he meant to our YMCA. And basically what that is we get teams of 3 to 4 every year, and we pull a school bus, yes, an actual school bus, 250 feet. And so your teams pull the actual school bus, and it is all off of, we give prizes out for best costume, best most money raised, and then, of course, the fastest time. And we've done that every year since. And in 2026, we're really expecting it to be the biggest year yet. We really, really want to get the community involved. We have also pulled a fire truck. So we've done, a couple years ago, we did the fire truck pull, and that was way more difficult than I thought it would be. They did not tell us that the fire truck was going to be filled with water. So 25,000 additional pounds was added to that fire truck. And so going from pulling a fire truck to a bus the following year, I felt like Superwoman, because I felt like I cut my time in half, because it was a lot lighter. But it is the energy to that event alone, whether there are 10 people or 100 people, it's amazing. It really brings the community together, and we raise money for the YMCA to be able to provide opportunities to our entire community, no matter what your financial status is. And so that goes back to providing swim lessons, weeks worth of summer camp, teen memberships. You can sponsor a child to go to Blue Ridge Leader School. And so really all of that money goes into our community impact fund. And so that is probably my favorite event. It's close to home because I started it with Nicola Diaz, who was my kind of like, she was like my right-hand woman. And she was also the person that knew Jacob really well. And so that is an event that we continue to have and build on. And in 2026, if you guys want to pull a bus for the first time, come on out. We welcome you with open arms to kind of check it out. It is really awesome. And so just the energy behind that alone, I'm super excited for 2026. The most money we have ever raised was $15,000. And that was from each team. We do ask that each team, raise a certain amount of money to be able to pull the bus. And they do that from reaching out to the community. And so that is really great. I see that the holiday plunge, Viviana also mentioned, that is specific to our Fort Monroe YMCA. That is also a community event where we raise money for our annual impact program. And that is where we plunge into the cold waters of the Chesapeake Bay in December, the first week in December, actually. And the energy from that event is also great. Same like the bus pool, we get, you get a team together, your team. Our biggest team usually is the Buckrow Swimmers. They have a team of 6 to 7 regular swimmers who swim in the Chesapeake Bay, and they always have the best costumes. So I get roped into it somehow, being a plunger every year. I tell myself I'm not going to do it, and then somebody asks me, and I can't tell them no. And so, last year we got blessed with great weather. It was like 75 degrees outside, which didn't change the water temperature too much, but it was better than, being freezing, going into freezing water. So it is, plunge is the right word for it, because you're in and you're out. But those are two really great community events. Another one that I'll share, really quickly is we have a huge Silver Sneakers following. And Silver Sneakers is, they're our active older adult community, and we pack the house with them Monday through Friday. Robbie Cole, who is and Elvira Cooper are two of our, really great Silver Sneakers instructors. We pack the house with 45 seniors Monday through Friday for class, a Silver Sneakers class. It's so popular that we have to give out tickets for it. Those tickets, we start handing out at 9:30. The class does not start until 10:30. And the tickets are gone by 10 o'clock, sometimes 9:45. And so we always celebrate them because they are also big on impact. They do it for the kids. They always, say we want to make sure every kid knows how to swim. We want to make sure that these kids can go to summer camp. And so they fundraise a lot themselves. And every year for the past, I want to say this will be the 4th year in 2026, we do a Silver Sneakers Spring Fling. It is like a senior prom. They get dressed to the nine in their prom dresses. We give out, we announce a prom king and queen, but it is an event that just warms my heart, because those are my people. Those are like my, they are so, so great, and they love the Y, and they love everything about what we do for the community. But when I say they get dressed to the nine, I mean, we're talking, we roll out the red carpet for them, we wine and dine them, and they hit the dance floor, and they have a great time. And it fills my heart, it fills my cup every year when we do it, just from that alone.
Yeah, because some of them I know we mentioned that they've never been to prom before, so this might have been the first time that they were able to celebrate prom as well. So it's very fun.
Yeah, it's great. They get little corsages, they come with their significant other, and it's like, we really roll out the red carpet for them, and they do not disappoint.
Hmm. What what other classes do we have, like fun classes, right? In reference to like maybe Zumba or line dancing. What other type of exercise can we do besides, one, two, three, four, five?
Yeah, I will say the fun classes that we have. I have two left feet, so dancing classes are not my thing. But we have Zumba. We offer Zumba, line dancing, and then also Mix Fit, which is we offer that a couple times a week, which is almost like a hip hop based dance class. And so those are our classes that are really like, upbeat and fun. And then as far as like strength classes, power cut, boot camp, they're all really great.
Mhm. And then my last question, then Maddie can take over. I know you've mentioned multiple ways that the YMCA gets funding. So through through membership, through the activities that we do with the community. What are some other ways that we can collect funding to be able to provide families that cannot afford membership? Because I know that we do tend to give more than we receive at the YMCA. And then what is the big project that's coming up next for YMCA here in the peninsula?
Yeah, so all of the money that we receive from memberships and everything, that doesn't go towards any of our programs, right? So really, when you donate to the Y, you're donating to somebody who's in need. So when you give a donation of, let's say, $45, you're providing a month's worth of swim lessons for a child in need. When you donate $120, you're providing a week's worth of summer camp for a kid. So every donation matters, no matter the monetary amount, because a lot of people do say, to your point, well, I give my membership, I pay you guys every month for my membership. Well, none of that goes back into what we actually do for the community. That keeps our doors open, but none of that actually goes towards what the YMCA is about. And so when you're donating to the Y, specifically, you're donating towards your community, you're donating towards programs for kids in need, for adults in need. We give out several scholarships, like I said, scholarships for memberships, programs. All of those donations go towards that. And so I think it goes back, to telling the story of the Y and speaking to what we do and our mission, because sometimes a lot of people don't know we do all of that. And so, when we pose the question of, would you like to donate? We typically try to add on a little more than that, than just ask you for a donation. What is my money going towards? Well, if you were to commit $45 to me today, you're providing a month worth of swim lessons for a child that's in need of learning how to swim. You're preventing drowning for one individual, which is a lot. That speaks volume. And so, any sort of thing like that, I really do think, your donation matters, no matter the monetary amount. And if somebody wants to ask me why to donate or how to donate, I'm all ears. I will tell you, I will sit down with you and I will tell you everything about the YMCA. I will tell you, I will show you actually what your money goes towards if you would like. I will take you to that program space. And so you really don't know until somebody tells you. And so I think that just goes back to us being better about telling our story and what we do for the community.
Yeah, what's the big project that's coming up for the YMCA?
So for Hampton, we have a lot of exciting things planned. Nothing is set in stone yet, but we do know that Hampton is it is one of our oldest centers in our association. We are, really working right now with the city of Hampton to be able to do some renovations to the Y. Just a quick little backstory. The YMCA used to be Pembroke and Phoenix High School. And so with that, we were sharing a side with social services which is no longer social services. And so the YMCA, there's so much history in our building because it was 2 high schools. And that community alone is huge. We did an alumni event with them over the summer, and there was over 200 to 300 people that showed up that were Hampton and Phoenix and Pembroke alumni all across the country. And they came together because they knew it might be the last time that they could step foot in their high school, because they are, demoing the social services side, but we as a Y are not going anywhere. So we made that keen and clear that we were not going to take away what we currently have at our YMCAs. Our goal is to expand on that, and continue to grow the programs, because there is a need to serve more in our community. And right now we're capped. And so by being able to potentially expand on this project, we're going to be able to serve way more than we're serving right now. And so while there's no set in stone of what we are doing, the things that we have planned are super exciting. And I'm extremely hopeful that we will get things going here pretty soon, and just be able to continue serving our community in more ways than one.
That's awesome. That's awesome. Mark, our producer Mark, said that he saw online that there was a water safety program in partnership with Busch Gardens. Can you tell us a little bit more about that?
Yeah, absolutely. So I spoke about it a little bit earlier. We have a Learn to Swim program, right? Where we essentially what happens is we have elementary schoolers who, I'll speak specifically on Newport News. Every child that was in a Newport News elementary school came to the YMCA and was able to learn how to swim. They're at no cost. And so the bus would bring them to the YMCA, and for an entire week, they were learning the fundamentals of how to swim. And so by the time that they started on Monday, and I know this because I was a volunteer, I strongly encourage anybody that is watching or is comfortable in the water to help out and be a volunteer for Learn to Swim, because it will fill your cup. The mayor of Newport News, he volunteers every year for Learn to Swim. And so when they start on that Monday, and they are afraid of the water, by the time they leave on Friday, they are excited to get back in the water and they don't want to leave. And so it really does fill your cup, just seeing all of these kids. The number of children that we serve is amazing. And again, it doesn't just happen at Newport News. It happens at almost all of our locations across our association. We are teaching kids how to learn to swim at no cost to the parent. And so what happened with Busch Gardens is we partnered with them, and every child that went through the Learn to Swim program got a Busch Gardens ticket for the summertime. So their parent was able to take them to Busch Gardens with that ticket at no cost. It was a congratulations, your child made it through our program, and we appreciate the partnership with you guys. And so they were able to go to water country, and the parent was able to feel safe about taking their child to water country because they went through the Learn to Swim program.
That's exciting.
That's great. I bet the kids are really excited. I guess this leads right into my my last question that I have for you. It's a two-parter. So the first is I want to say first thank you for your passion. It comes through the screen, that you love what you do, that you enjoy what you do. So my questions are: what would you say has been the biggest contribution that you have made to the organization, yourself personally? And then second, what has been the most fulfilling part or project that you have ever been a part of since being with the company?
Oh, that's a very tough question. I think for me, really, again, my biggest thing with working for the YMCA is the passion that I have for it. I come to work every day on a mission to be able to talk to somebody about the Y and get them in our doors, or to just really be out in the community. I am such an extrovert that I feel like sometimes it annoys people, because I always talk about the Y. I always talk about, what I love to do and why I love it. And so I'm somebody that I'm never going to ask somebody to do something that I'm not willing to do myself. And so I think just from that, really just my leadership and my passion for not just Hampton specifically, but for my entire association. I speak true to the mission. I really feel like that, and I think my passion is probably the biggest thing, and my excitement really, and my energy. Like I said, I'm a big time extrovert. I am all about getting out of my comfort zone, and so my goal is to also kind of get people out of their comfort zones. And so I think for that, really, I don't think there's a specific project that I've done myself without leading with somebody or having somebody right alongside me. I never like to be the person to do one thing. I want to bring you with me. I want to develop you. I want to coach you. And so I really enjoy what I do. And I love Hampton specifically, and my full circle here. I started as the wellness director in 2020, and then moved into an associate wellness exec role where I served the entire Lower Peninsula. For about 8 months, they moved my home center to the Victory location. And then shortly after, I got brought back home to Hampton, which is where I'm meant to be. And so it really does fill my cup being here and just the members alone. So I think really that's my answer to that question. And then the second part really is I wouldn't say from my experience in the position that I'm in right now, but what led me to staying with the Y was when I was battling between jobs. I wanted to work in professional sports. That's what my background was in, and so I was working for the Norfolk Tides at the same time that I was working for the YMCA it was called a Fit Quest coach at the time. It's called a wellness coach now. And so I just graduated with my master's, and I had been working for the Tides for close to 5 years. Was presented an opportunity to stay with them, which when you graduate college, you're like, oh man, I would love the opportunity to work and have a full-time job. Well, I met my supervisor at the Y at the time, and he looked at me and he said, I think you would make a great wellness director. And I sort of just laughed at him because I didn't think that it was something that I would want to do. And then when he was leaving, he said, hey, I need to give my clients to somebody that I trust and somebody that I know will lead them in the right direction. And so I met this woman. Her name is Miss Bonnie. And he goes, Miss Bonnie is either going to love you or she's going to hate you. She's going to be very blunt and honest. And she walked through the door with this bold personality. And I was like, oh my gosh, I don't know if she's going to like me. I don't know if this is going to work out. And I ended up working with her 3 days a week. And when I sat her down, I asked her kind of what her goal was. And she said to me that her goal was to be able to walk her son down the aisle without having to use her cane. Now, this was in May. The wedding was in August. And so while I said, I don't know if I can I can promise you that I can help get you there as best I can. And so I worked with her 3 days a week throughout the summer. She would park her car in the lobby, and I would go and I would park her car for her so she could get out and take the elevator up the stairs. She always asked about me. She never asked about herself. She was a very, very caring person. And so she became someone that I just truly almost adopted as my YMCA grandma. I'm allowed to call her that. She says I can call her that. And so, one day she never missed an appointment with me. And if she did, she would call or text me. And so it was our last session of the summer before she was supposed to have this wedding with her son. And I'm calling her, I'm texting her, it's late, I don't see her, I'm looking in the parking lot, I can't find her anywhere. I'm riding up and down the elevator, I'm asking people, hey, have you seen Ms. Bonnie yet? And then I'm like, all right, well, I'll just go back upstairs and she'll call me or text me. I was beginning to get worried. And then I hear my name from downstairs, and I look, and she's walking up the steps without her cane. She's using the rail, but she's walking up the steps. And it was kind of in that moment that I knew that I was in the right line of work, and that my true passion was helping people and being with people and helping them reach their goals. And so naturally that gravitated me towards applying to be the wellness director for Hampton Family YMCA at the end of 2019. And shortly after took on the role in January of 2020. And I have not looked back since. And I don't know, like I said, I don't know what I would do without the Y.
I love it. I think it's amazing. I work with young people, so I always tell them, as you pursue life, as you do life, make sure that when you wake up in the mornings, you enjoy what you're doing, so it's nice to make the money, but it is an extra bonus if we can get up in the mornings and truly enjoy what we're doing on a daily basis. So it sounds like you're living your best life, Danielle.
I'm trying.
I love it. I just want to thank you for your time. Unfortunately, our hour is up, but we would love to have you again because I feel like there were so many things we didn't talk about that the Y does,
I
and we
told you
didn't really,
all day, every day.
yeah, we didn't really get to like dig into you a little bit because usually we dig into some personal stuff. So we would love to have you back on the show. So we could pick another time. But
Absolutely.
usually, yes, we would love to have you again. Usually we end well, always, whether Maddie's here or not, we end our show with a poem. Typically, Maddie does have her own book, so she'll tell us a little bit about that. But usually, we end the show with one of her poems. And usually, you're supposed to get the chills, Danielle. So get ready.
Okay, I'm ready.
Don't say that because that puts the extra pressure. Oh my God. Okay,
Yes,
so just quickly.
get used to it. It's been Hey, we've been doing the show for 3 years, so we expect chills every single Sunday, Maddie.
Oh, no pressure. Okay, so thank you for that again. Thank you, Danielle, for being with us, and I hope to see you again. So this is my book, A Vision of She. I don't think you can see it on there, but it's on there. Vision of She. You can find me on Amazon or find me on Facebook as Madeline Garcia or Instagram at MaddieG98. And again, my book is called A Vision of She. So I'm gonna do a short poem because I know we're a little bit over our time. So this poem is a survival poem to myself. So, confession. I never really learned to swim. I have a hard time keeping my head above water, getting my limbs to move gracefully through the problems, through the water. I've mastered the art of being still, pushing my back against my stomach, lifting my chest up, no matter what tries to weigh me down, chin up, and just breathe. I can't seem to feel that I open my eyes at a time and space that never seemed to fit. An unsteady fluid surface I always had a hard time learning to walk in, to exist in, always trying not to sink. Born in soil that will always remind me that I don't fully belong, that these roots will have to learn to exist above ground until I can find a solid surface I can plant myself and call my own, where I can find other flowers to mix with, where my leaves can be a symbol of individuality and not what I need in order to fit in. I have learned that the shade of brown is very hard to miss. It will always find a way to stand out in any garden it is thrown in. To some a curse, to me from a shroom, a gift. I have since discovered that I am the daughter of evolution, that this body has the power to transform, to become, to live on, turning rough endings into new beginnings, no matter how many tries it takes. You call it black girl magic, I call it the will of my ancestors, showering me with strength, because these roots have been able to survive high winds, deep waters, uneven soil, even hell. They have walked through the flames and have mastered the art of blooming, even while they burn. True story. I never thought I would get to see an older version of myself, yet here I am with so much more world to see. So to future me, when you read this 30 years from now, just know that you are proof that you don't need to be a swimmer to make it through the flood, because sometimes floating, it's enough.
Thank you, Maddie. I'm telling you, Danielle, she does not prep for the show and the poems that she's going to recite, but I'm telling you, she's always on point. So this might be the official YMCA poem for the end of 2025, Maddie. But thank you again, Danielle. Thank you so much. One of our audience said, thank you, Danielle, for coming on the show. And also, amazing, Maddie. Everyone has a good week. Everybody have a good week on purpose, as she says. And then Ivan Urdueña said, saludos desde Colombia. So again, Danielle, I'm sure we'll have you again, and we hope that you guys have an amazing week. And thank you so much for everything that was shared today. And our audience just know that we didn't cover everything. So go to the website and find a local YMCA wherever you are located. If you're out of the country and there is no YMCA, find a place to be active and do things for your community. Thank you, Mark.
Thank you, guys.
See you next week.
Hi, I'm Elizabeth Elam, the Aquatics Executive with the YMCA of the Virginia Peninsulas. At the Y, we prevent drowning. Remember, as we go through the rest of the summer, to always swim near a lifeguard.
I'm 14 and a half.
I'm a foster care child.
I am talkative.
I am smart.
I am shy.
I am caring.
I am funny.
Although we are all different,
In the end, we're all similar.
We all are human.
we have feelings.
Every one of us.
So don't bully.
Make a difference. Check out the teen programs at your local YMCA.
Every day, we meet our own challenges. We work different jobs, walk in different shoes, and pave our own path. But there is one place where we can come together and share the same space and the same commitment to be our best selves. Together, we're better at the Y.
Are just so impressed with them. Like I said, we've been with them for years. I will recommend and refer anyone to them. We stand by A+ academics. They're the best.
A+ tutorial really did help me with all my grades. They all went up when I came to this place. And I would say I recommend this school to everyone.
So it's a really good environment to be in, especially for me because it makes me look up to my parents.
If you have students that need academic help, A+ Academics is the place to be. A+ Academics, what a great place to go for academics.
It's just a really great place to learn.